Outlast Trials has been one of my most highly anticipated games in the past few years. It has been on my radar ever since its first announcement through an official teaser trailer and a listing in Steam back in 2020. And with no release date officially announced, I waited a long, agonizing 3 years for the game to release. Outlast Trials managed to stand out among the multitude of games that emerged during the COVID-19 generation. While other publishers and developers during COVID were hastily releasing unfinished games for a quick buck, Red Barrels was one of the few outliers. They prioritized quality over rushed deadlines and postponed the release date not once, but twice. Red Barrels demonstrated their commitment to delivering a polished product even during the COVID times, making Outlast Trials significantly stand out amongst the other COVID generation games. Regarding Red Barrels' commitment, it's impressive that Outlast Trials is priced at $29.99, and it's absolutely mind-blowing how Outlast Trials offers more playtime and enjoyment compared to games that are priced at $59.99. Shit, I've even come across games that are priced at $69.99 that you'd personally have to pay me to play. Keep in mind that Outlast Trials is a project that Red Barrels had cooking up while we wait for Outlast 3 to drop. And despite it being an experimental project, Outlast Trials destroyed many of the recent AAA games on the market right now. The dedication and effort invested by Red Barrels in developing this game shine through, making it a compelling experience for the little that you pay. After years of anticipation, the wait is finally over, and I couldn't be more excited to dive into the world of Outlast Trials. Outlast Trials is a 4-player PvE horror co-op that is set in the same universe as the other two Outlast games. If you somehow live under a rock or in Ohio and never heard of Outlast, it is one of the scariest single-player horror game series on the market. I couldn't even beat the first or the second game because I would get to a scary part of the game and never would want to play it again. And unfortunately, my bitch ass had to watch the rest of the plot on YouTube. So this game series was an experience that stuck to mind. Unlike Outlast Trials' solo counterparts, this installment of Outlast is a co-op adventure, which means that I can finally rely on some brave friends to accompany me through the nightmare. Spider. The game is a prequel to the previous Outlast installments and is set in the Cold War era. The youthful Murkoff Corporation pairs up with the CIA to gather test experiments who have no family, friends, or purpose in life, and conducts them to a series of diabolical trials that Murkoff sickeningly labels as therapy. In each of these trials, you and your fellow teammates must navigate a treacherous landscape while performing gruesome tasks for Murkoff's enjoyment. This includes evading the clutches of relentless enemies, traps, and a main antagonist that awaits on you to make a single lapse in your judgment. Every trial will push your fears to the limit, demanding teamwork, testing your attention to detail, challenging your abilities to evade, and requiring swift adaptability. Outlast Trials takes from its successful counterparts' gameplay features. Just like the previous games, you can run, hide in hiding spots, vault over obstacles, and enhance your vision in the dark with night vision goggles that are screwed into your skull, which replaces the iconic camera from the previous games. The night vision goggles grants you an advantage over enemies who struggle to see in darkness. But be cautious, as your movements can still be heard. Outlast traditionally favors stealth, as enemies can hear your movements, and you have no method of defending yourself, which results in the player having to be good in stealth or die. However, unlike previous titles, this game breaks the mold by giving you methods to defend yourself, such as the ability to pick up bricks and bottles to lob at enemies. Wonderful tools to give Mother Gooseberry a good concussion. Additionally, and most importantly, the game introduces its biggest new feature, rigs, which provide the ability to alter and experiment with different playstyles, fundamentally changing the traditional Outlast experience while still capturing the essence of fear that the series is known for. The game offers a diverse selection of 4 rigs, each carrying its own unique benefits and playstyles. The heal rig, which is pretty self-explanatory, offers a support playstyle. The blind rig gives a simple yet very effective smoke mine for players with a decoy-like playstyle. This mine strongly helps for evading and distracting enemies over extended durations. The stun rig proves invaluable for an aggressive playstyle, as a crucial defense against imminent dangers such as stunning enemies and disarming traps, preventing unfortunate situations for you and your teammates. Lastly, the X-ray rig grants players a scouting playstyle, with the ability to see enemies and traps through walls, aiding in the avoidance of threats for you and your allies, and uncovering some useful items and side objectives. Or you can use it to hide in a fucking barrel the entire game. These rigs provide a significant boost to changing your playstyle, and can help give you and your team of reagents the capability to fill different roles and to collaborate effectively. This makes the co-op all the more meaningful, and not something Red Barrels tried to lazily throw into the old Outlast formula like some Frankenstein project. Outlast Trials also offers a bit of customization, not with just the choice of rigs, but also allowing you to choose 3 amps out of the 9 the game offers. These amps give you special perks, such as Slippers, which lets you step on glass sound traps without making a sound. You also get cosmetic customization, from your character's clothes to almost every aspect of your bedroom. Alright, you probably heard enough about the game's features, but what about... The biggest problem the previous Outlast installments have struggled with in the past was to get players back on the game. Sure, there's speedrunning, as there is with every game, and the second game did have an alternate ending, but the games didn't really have a very meaningful reason to do better or to go back other than achievements. Other games implement features such as scores per level or chapter to motivate the player to score a perfect score, or even offering a feature such as New Game Plus to provide players with a harder difficulty and more features on their second playthrough, and maybe possibly some extra benefits to soothe your troubles. New Game Plus is really beneficial to get 100% in-game completion or to finish collecting the achievements that you need. Speaking of which, Outlast Trials doesn't even have any fucking achievements. Although it's hard for me to forgive Outlast Trials for the lack of achievements, which fuels my need for a fake sense of accomplishment, Outlast Trials still solves the issues of replayability the previous games did not address. And I'm sure that achievements are soon to come as soon as the game gets out of early access and moves on to Season 1. One of the ways that the game solves the replayability issues is by providing a score system for each trial, which is based on your individual score of how you perform. This incentivizes players to get a perfect score to get bonus rewards. It's also a good way to measure your performance and to motivate players to go back and get a better score. However, I will admit that the score system is a bit flawed, which can actually sometimes reward the unhelpful player instead of the one actually getting the work done. For example, someone could walk 5 steps, go into the closet right next to the shuttle, do no objectives the entire game, and still come out with an A+. This situation could be very fucking frustrating at times, and I can relate to it personally. Regardless of the flaws, this provides more of a motive to go back and do better, especially after getting flamed for slightly inconveniencing Dr. Easterman with her slightly below average performance. Another replayability option is included through Program X. After completing all 3 programs, which consist of a set of trials and challenges in the same theme, you unlock Program X. Program X is all the same trials that you beat, but with new conditions set to make your life even more agonizing. After completing Program X, you get enough tokens to walk through the alluring and colorful hallway to earn your freedom and become reborn. This consists of a final trial that Murkoff has set up for you to see if your sick, twisted therapy has worked. Ignoring all the spoilers I could address, this basically in the end gives you a prestige status, allowing you to complete Program X again to get all the reborn outfits and reap more rewards. Finally, the most important and basic replayability feature they have is the leveling system, which is a good way to level out experience and the player's skills. Your score in each trial affects the amount of XP that you get. Leveling up also gives the player tickets, which can be used to upgrade your rig, buy amps, and to get special perks allowing the player to differentiate themselves even more from the other players. The replayability of the game is crucial to keep an online game successful and alive. But while replayability does help, Red Barrels needs to focus on the future of Outlast Trials to keep the game active. So, what about the... Red Barrels made the bold decision to make Outlast Trials early access, so the future of the game really matters in order to ensure that the game isn't dead by release. To fight this issue, the devs plan to use Outlast Trials as a base to keep pushing out more fun and easily accessible content. There is believed to be a DLC in season content, but as of right now the game is in pre-season, and should be working its way up to Season 1, possibly once it gets out of early access. Red Barrels has poured their heart into the game, actively seeking community feedback through surveys and promptly releasing updates and hotfixes within the month of its release. This is refreshing to see, since games as of late have been dumping their game off and leaving it to rot. It's rare to see game devs that actually care about their community on this level. This entire game is tailored towards its community, relying on the feedback of their players to make the next decision about their game. Seeing some of the game ideas Red Barrels has given the option to choose from in the early access survey, Red Barrels has me heavily interested in what's to come next, and I am certain that they will not fail to impress. In my 60 hours of gameplay, Outlast Trials has been a super fun and a semi-challenging game to play with friends, and maybe a bit agonizing at times thanks to Project Omega, which is an update that the game has put out that makes an intense version of all the trials that really put your skills to the test. And even your friendships. This game has also made me scream so loud a few times that I've actually gotten a headache from it, which I consider to be an impressive feat because I rarely find things scary these days. The fact that I played 60 hours in less than 2 months of release just really impresses me and is mind-blowing to me. The gameplay hasn't gotten stale for a second in those 60 hours. Outlast Trials is everything I could have wanted in a PvE horror game and more, and I hope that I've sparked that interest in y'all as well. Thank you all for watching, and remember to Spider Eye.